Good morning, Joy Notebook Club. We are here for another exciting Saturday. I know y'all probably say she starts off saying the same thing all the time, but I can because what I always say, it's my show. I can do what I want to do, right? But I'm telling y'all, these authors are coming hard with this. Today's author is Ballah-Moni Kollie. Let me tell you something. Look at this. Now, I was expecting one thing and got something completely different. Y'all, let me tell you something. Girlfriend, surprise me. For sure. Because I just knew I was going to be going through a spiritual journey. Then I turned it over and started reading and said, Amen. That's all I had to say was amen. So I knew I was going to get something different. Then I started reading, y'all. And I know y'all are used to like shows like Girlfriends, living single. I know y'all saw Girls Trip. And the last one I'm gonna say is our all-time staple woman raw movie is Waiting to Exhale. Okay, Waiting to Exhale. So when I was reading this, not only y'all was I seeing all of that, okay, I'm just giving you little juicy bits and things, okay, just a little bit, but I started seeing myself, some foolish stuff I did, some foolish stuff my sister girls, and y'all know I got four of them. So I could see, I was just like, oh my goodness. And y'all know I was talking to the book. I done threw the book. There was one moment I threw the book, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all when we talk about this book, I threw the book. I even told my husband. And I was like, no, don't do that. So when you have someone talking to a book, you know it is good. Y'all put it on the reading list. Now, if you want something that's not spicy, this ain't for you. This real grown folk woman girlfriend stuff, okay? This is the truth because we've all been through some things and we have people in our lives that fit a little bit of the characters in the book. These women and the men. And I just can't wait to talk about it. I just can't. So what I'm going to do so that I don't mess myself up is I'm going to thank our sponsor for today. So today's podcast sponsor is Events and Creations by Nikki. That's Creations with a K. Call Events and Creations by Nikki for all your creative needs. They host, plan, and design any event celebration you desire. They also create custom-made designs for apparel, cups, floral arrangements, decorum, jewelry, waist beads, and y'all know I got mine. Okay, it doesn't mean that I'm working out, but I got mine. You can reach a member of the Creations with a K team at 443-876-1548 or send an email to events and creations with a K by Nikki at gmail.com. Their motto is, if you have a vision, let's create it. All right, y'all. We're going to get into the bio. All right. Because I know y'all sitting there going, Alina, come on, get with the bio because we want to hear a little something. Okay. Don't rush me, y'all. Don't rush me because I know y'all over there rushing me. Just sip on your tea. All right. So, see, y'all, this is when you get excited. You get all excited and mess people's names up. And I'm going to have to make sure I slow myself down so that I say her name correctly because I'm jacking stuff up. And I'm going to be honest. Okay. So it's Ballah-Moni Kollie is a newly published author who just published her first book titled, yep, y'all, this is it. We got her. The Journey in Finding. Born and raised in Providence, Rhode Island, she is the child of a Liberian immigrants who migrated to the United States in the 1970s for a taste of the American dream. After graduating from high school, she attended and graduated from the first HBCU, Lincoln University, in 2009 with a bachelor's in mass communications. She wrote for her school's newspaper and interned for, y'all wait for this, BET and the Source magazine. Let me tell you something. My PR is going to be loving this, okay? She has her, you can find her on Facebook, Instagram, and her published book page is the _journey_in_finding. Remember, all of this information is going to be up in the description box, every place that you can find her. And trust me, you want to check out her Instagram page because y'all, she was talking about some heavy stuff, eating a slice of pizza. And she said, did you see how I was chewing this? No, I was done. Okay. I thought it was so funny, but she was speaking so much truth. And what you see on her Instagram page is who she is. She is not being anyone but who she is. And that's the part that I love. Again, this is another author that said yes to someone who she didn't even know. And we counted a blessing here in the Joy Nook Club. Y'all, okay, I'm going to stop talking because I want to bring her up so that she can go ahead and read because y'all see my notes. I know y'all probably saying, where her little color tabs? That's because your girl can't find them right now, okay? So don't judge me, okay? There's a no judgment zone, all right? We are going to go ahead and drop the mic to our author for today, Ballah. See, I told y'all I'm going to get this right. I'm going to get it right. Oh, my goodness. Ballah-Moni Kollie. Did I say it wrong again? If I said it wrong, it's okay for you to correct me because we right here with each other.
Yeah, because you add the Monet and there's no Monet. It's
Ballah-Moni.
I mean, thank you for adding the Monet. It sounds Ballah-Moni. It sounds cute.
Why did y'all? It was not it.
Ballah-Moni. But, my parents wasn't looking for the Monet. They went for the Moni.
We're going to have it say it for everybody, including me, so that I can check myself before I wreck myself, y'all.
No.
Say it for us so I can do this right because I done messed it up. I done got all excited. And even though I done broke it down, I'm looking right at it. I got the last name right, but I'm messing up the first name, y'all.
Yes, it's pronounced Ballah-Moni.
Ballah-Moni.
Yeah.
Y'all, Ballah-Moni. Mm-hmm. Don't fool with me, y'all, today. Don't fool with me. Y'all stick with her, not with me. So we are dropping the mic to Ballah-Moni Kollie. All right, it's all yours, darling.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm going to start off with chapter 7 in my book, The Journey in Finding. And here it goes. Tanya had been busy at the hospital all morning. Between calming screaming babies and giving shots, she was worn out. Every day at 12:30, Ellis would call Tanya for them to have lunch together and sneak in a little quickie. But since Ellis had made partner in the firm, Tanya hardly saw him. That included at their home as well. Ellis's work days ran into the night, so Tanya was usually home by herself. As her workday came to a close, Tanya checked her cell phone to see if Ellis had texted or called her. As usual, nothing. As Tanya opened the glove compartment and looked for her car charger, a piece of paper fell out of the compartment. How could Tanya have forgotten about the night her husband's boss gave her his phone number? That night, Tanya had thrown his number in her glove compartment, forgetting the flirtation that had occurred between them. Tanya's intentions were to throw the number away and forget that anything happened. But as she thought about Thomas's dreamy eyes, in her heart, she knew she had to keep the number. Tanya sat in her car, thinking about the encounter with Thomas. Could I possibly cheat on my husband? Tanya wondered. Of course, Tanya saw men as she thought were attractive, but she had never thought about sleeping with them. Coming home to an empty home was something Tanya had gotten used to within the past 3 weeks. It had its pros and cons. Pros, she didn't have to cook a big meal. Con, she was lonely. As Tanya took out a frozen pizza in the oven, she turned on the television. At least the Golden Girls was on. If Tanya was going to be alone, she needed a good laugh. While laughing at Rose and her St. Olaf stories, Tanya heard the front door slam. Ellis, said a surprised Tanya. Yeah, baby, it's me, he answered. Baby, what are you doing? She asked. I live here, don't I? He responded. Tanya was happy that Ellis was home, especially since his office was his new home. Are you hungry? I can cook something for you, Tanya said as she opened the freezer. No, thank you. I forgot something. I just came to pick up my briefcase, said Ellis while in a hurry. Tanya hated when Ellis only stopped for a minute. When he came home, it was either to pick something or to stay in the computer room. In the 14 years Ellis and Tanya had been together, Tanya had never felt so alone. Hey, babe, screamed Ellis. After hearing him call her name, Tanya felt warm inside and rushed to the front door. What's up? She asked. Can I use your car to go back to the office? There is something wrong with my headlights, he said. That's it, thought Tanya. She could kill him. Yeah, you can, she said. Let me check my car and see if I need to take anything out. As Tanya stepped outside, Ellis felt a little funny about only asking her for her car. For 3 weeks, he had been ignoring his wife, and he felt bad. I need to do something for my wife, he said to himself. Tanya went in her car and took out her jacket and binders. She then went into the glove compartment to take out her all auxiliary cord. As the compartment closed, as the compartment opened, Thomas' number fell out. This has to be a conspiracy, thought Tanya. This is the second time Thomas' number has fallen out of nowhere. Could this be a sign? This time, instead of throwing the number to a random spot in her car, she folded it up and put it in her pocket. Ellis could see that Tanya was starting to feel lonely and decided to be a little affectionate toward his wife. Hey, baby, I know work has taken a toll on our relationship. I promise I'll make it up to you. Any other time, Tanya would have felt warm and giddy inside. This time, she was annoyed. Okay, looking forward to it, she said coldly. After Ellis left, Tanya sat on her couch looking at Thomas's number. She was undecided on whether she wanted to call him and plan a date or throw it away. This only led to one thing Tanya had not done in a long time. Tanya picked up her phone and dialed the number. After the first ring, a voice answered, and Tanya said, Hey, will you be busy Friday night? It had been a while since all four women had gotten together. Tanya knew when she had called Souljah about a girls' night on a Friday night, Souljah would have been down. It didn't take much to convince Souljah and Kitty, since all four women were having serious men problems. The Shake Lounge was the talk of the town. It was a grown and sexy lounge designed to be for an older crowd, preferably 28 and up. This was the perfect time for Souljah, especially since she still had not spoken to Larry since he had started working at the gym. A girls' night out was the best thing for all four women. Getting Souljah ready was like preparing Oprah Winfrey for her show. Everyone knew Souljah was the slowest out of the bunch. And now that she had her son's father living with her, it was worse because now she had critics to tell her that her dress was too tight. As Souljah began to put on her makeup, her cell phone rang. Kitty was calling to make sure Souljah was at least dressed. I had to video chat with you to check your progress, said Kitty. Oh, you got jokes, said Souljah. I'm ready. Are you? Asked Kitty. Souljah is best known for her flawless makeup and fashionable outfits because it had been ages since she had gone out. Souljah was going to be the Diana Ross of the crew. When Souljah had gotten dressed for her previous girls' night out, the only man she had to answer to was Tariq. Now with her ex in her house, she didn't have to answer anymore. As Souljah was putting on her shoes, she noticed that Tariq didn't come in to ask her 21 questions. For 13 years, she had always answered her son. Now with Ronnie around, she and Tariq hardly had time together, as every weekend was daddy and son weekend, with the two either going fishing, playing basketball, having father and son dinners, or watching sports. As Souljah loved having Ronnie around for Tariq, she was jealous because her baby boy no longer wanted to hang out with her. As Souljah stepped out, she noticed an extra guest, Tariq's best friend Dom. Dom and Tariq had been best friends since they were 3 years old when they first met at the park. Dom lived with his mother and grandmother and always found himself at Zaria's house. Zaria didn't mind because it was like because it was like a second son because he was like a second son to her. Hey Dom, when did you get here? Asked Zaria. Like 20 minutes ago, said Dom. As Zaria was waiting for Kitty to pick her up, she noticed her living room had turned into the men's den. Men's shoes were all over the place. Pizza boxes were on her $2,000 coffee table. And worst of all, an Xbox was on her floor. Zaria just clenched her teeth. She had no time to get upset. So what are you guys playing? Asked Zaria. She scooted her son's jacket to the side before she sat down. NBA 2K7, said Dom. As usual, Tariq ignored her as he was talking to his father. Reek, I'm going out tonight, Zaria said as she waited for her little boy to cry at her feet to stay home. Okay, have fun, said Tariq nonchalantly. Usually Zaria would run at that response, but Zaria missed her baby. What has the world come to? She wondered. Just as Zaria finished that thought, she heard Kitty drive up and beep her horn. Okay, guys, I am leaving. See you later, said Zaria. As she left the house, the men continued on with their game, not noticing Zaria in her bodycon dress and stiletto heels. All four women were ready to step out for the night, especially since all four women had an eventful past few weeks. As Kitty picked up Zyla and Tanya, she couldn't help but feel a little nervous. Usually Kitty was all ready with her outrageous and scantily clad dresses, but now Kitty had Torrance on her mind, and she couldn't seem to shake him. Zyla, on the other hand, was starting to lose faith in having any connection with Larry. Anytime Zyla got a chance to speak to him, he would walk right past her and not acknowledge her. The Shake Lounge was on fire that night. With the line stretching around the corner, this looked to be the night to be here. The women had no problems getting in. The owner, Darren Thorne, was an old classmate of the women and had the biggest crush on Kitty. As the women found parking, Tanya couldn't help but notice the crowd. Damn, there are a lot of people here, she said, as she adjusted her heels. Yes, so that means available men, says Zyla, who hadn't told Tanya and Kitty that she was seeing Larry, so they just thought she was going to mingle. My phone hasn't rang since I left the house, guys, Zaria said as she looked at her phone. Girl, bye, Kitty said in the flash. We're having a girls' night out, so no complaining about children and men. As the women stepped out of Kitty's Range Rover, men who were stepping outside of their cars began hounding the women, especially Kitty. Woo, you ladies are fine. I hope I take one of you home tonight, said one of the men. What most people seemed to misinterpret about Kitty was that she was not just a pretty face. Kitty had hung out with the toughest of the tough and knew how to handle herself quite well. You hear me talking to y'all? I'm talking to you, screamed the man. Just as the random man rushed to approach them, Kitty unleashed a barrage of insults. If you're limp dick, don't back up off of us. I'll make sure to kick your ass so bad that you'll be crying for your mother and the police. The man was so shocked. He had no choice but to back up and find his dignity. As the women approached the lounge, Tanya started feeling a little nervous. She hadn't gone clubbing in years, and because her marriage was on the rocks, she was afraid of what might transpire at the lounge. Having the right connections brought the women right up to the front of the line. While the people behind them were upset and questioned why the four women were cutting the line, Zyla was preparing herself to meet some new man or men, especially since her wing women were present. The Shake Lounge was jumping. All kinds of people were in there. Tall, short, black, white, everyone was inside. Darren Thorne had reserved a table for them, so the ladies felt as if they were royalty. Just as the women prepared to order their drinks, Tanya couldn't wait to go home. I don't feel right, guys, she said. I feel strange. I think I'm going to leave. Just as Tanya was about to get up, Zaria pulled her down and said, Tanya, if you don't sit down, you are out with your girls. You are not trying to hook up with anyone. After drinking a complimentary bottle of champagne, the girls brought their own bottles of Patron and Hennessy, and Zyla was ready to scoop them in. I'm ready, screamed Zyla. Come on, Katie, let's find me a man. As the two women rushed to the dance floor, Tanya and Zaria just looked at them. I don't know why Zyla is pushing her feelings for Larry onto some random, Zaria said. Larry, shrieked Tanya. Where did Larry come from? Oh, Zyla didn't tell you? He's one of the trainers at the gym by her house. Wait a minute. And she didn't tell me? Back in college, Tanya and Zyla's biggest cheer Tyler was Zyla's Tanya was Zyla's biggest cheerleader when it came down to Larry. Tanya always thought that Larry and Tanya would make a beautiful couple. But when Zyla got cold feet whenever Larry was around, Tanya was the only one who kept faith with that. One day they would be together. We have to help her out, Zaria. Those two are meant to be together, Tanya said. Zaria gave Tanya the chick please look. She forgot how much Tanya liked to be in other people's business. Tanya, leave it alone, said Zaria. It's up to Zyla to tell him how she feels. Even though Tanya agreed, she wanted to help her friend and would do anything to keep her happy. Kitty and Zyla were on a hunt. The last time Kitty had sex was a month ago, but she really wasn't feeling the men at the lounge. Zyla on the other hand had been in a drought. It had been 3 months since the last time she had sex, and the guy wasn't worth it. Zyla had been talking to Andrew for 2 years and thought they were on the brink of a relationship until he texted her out of the blue and said she was not the one for him. I don't see any cute guys, Kitty, said Zyla. Let's go back to the table. Just as the women were approaching their table, a gentleman approached them. Excuse me, said the man. I couldn't help but notice you two fine women. My name is Bryson. Bryson stood at 6'3" and weighed maybe 220 pounds. Built like he played sports, his stature seemed daring but caring at the same time. Well, these are my girls, said a voice. Darren, screamed the women. Darren gave each of them a hug. Kitty got the tightest one. I couldn't help but notice you talking to my girls, champ, said Darren. Yeah, man, but are one or both yours? Asked Bryson. Just before Bryson could finish his sentence, Kitty screamed, neither one of us are his. Just as Kitty began to pull away from Darren, Bryson grabbed Zyla's hand and asked, so what is your name, beautiful? Zyla, she replied. Bryson took Zyla to the bar while Darren walked Kitty back to the table. As Zyla and Bryson walked to the bar, she couldn't help but notice everyone eyeing them. You must be something major, or I look weird in my dress, said Zyla. No, you look good. Maybe people can't get over how beautiful you look, he said. Oh.
All right, y'all. Ballah-Moni, thank you. Thank you.
No
Y'all,
problem.
I'm telling you right now. Look, I was over here. She started with the chapter, and I know one of the things my group is going to start saying is Alenia must be picking the hot chapters because something happened in chapter 7. That's when I threw the book, girl. Let me tell you something. When she opened that glove compartment, I was done with her. Done. I was mad at her before.
Yeah.
But I was even done. I was done with her. I was done. Y'all, we're going to get ready to get into some stuff in a few seconds. I need to make sure.
I'm ready.
Because I'm telling y'all, the book was such and y'all going to ask me, how long did it take me to read it? One sitting. It did not take me long to read the book. I was like, oh, yes, eating lunch, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, she didn't. Why she gonna do that? Y'all know how I am. I talk to the books. All right. So you already know. The first question is going to be the characters in this book. Where did you get them from? Where was the ideas for their behaviors, their characteristics, and all of that good stuff?
Growing up for me, my house was always filled with women, like my mother's girlfriends. It was either they were at the house, back then before cell phones, the house phone. So growing up, my mother had friends, and I was young back then, so I didn't really understand the whole relationship status and stuff. But I, picked up bits and pieces. I wasn't looking in the mouth, but my ears were still alarmed. So as I got older, I started, like, my friends in college, I would say, they would come and we all would sit around and talk, and they would have relationship, issues and crushes and stuff. And when I when it came in my mind to start writing a book, I'm like, wait a
Right.
minute, I should write something, because I know so many juicy topics from my friends and from my mother's friends growing up. I'm like,
Right.
let me see if I can put this in a book. Let me see if I can just conspire and just collect the different stories that I've heard growing up and while in college from friends and just put it in a book. So that's when I'm like, wait a minute. I sat down, I bought a notebook. I have my notebook here when I started writing the book.
Right.
And I just went and did a little, I want to say a montage, like this person went through that. I think I'm gonna name that character that and have them go through this. That person went
Okay.
through that. I'm gonna call this character that and have them go through that. So that's how I went
Yes.
and mapped it out for each character.
Got
So
you.
I just want to know, I didn't put any specifics now. I'm very creative before people
Right.
start asking,
Right. Right.
for little, change on the side. Like, that's my story. No,
Right. Tell them no. All y'all sit down.
yeah,
I
no.
did character development. Y'all just were the
Yes, y'all
shadow.
help. I mean, you all help, but your
Right.
story's not in there. Let's just
That's right. And because and I will say, so to let y'all know, the characters, Zarya is Zarya, Tanya, Kitty, who is AKA is Catherine. Is it Catherine or
Catherine,
Christine?
yes.
Catherine. And then you also have Zyla. And you're talking about very distinctly different. And that's the part that I really enjoyed, because that's how my sister girls and I are. We are completely different. There's something that connects us, but through with everything, we are so different. And I loved that there was no real overlap. I loved how they distinctly was who they are. I love that. I just want you to know that part. I was like, okay, I'm feeling this. All right. You have some strong men in your book. Ellis, George.
Yes.
What made you make them so strong in your book? Because most of the time they always have some issues going on, but
you know what? It's because, and no, not trying to down any other person, writers or directors, anyone else, but I was just kind of sick and tired of always seeing the Black man in prison, the Black man on the corner, the Black man, stressed out. And I'm like, you know what? Let me flip the script and have them be a positive light in this book. I don't want to get too in it because I want, the readers, to read, but, I wanted, let a father be in there, a father who's very present in his son's life, who's very positive. Let me do that.
Ronnie, yes.
Yeah, like, let me do that. And growing up, I'm a daddy's girl. Yeah, I'm a daddy's girl. So that's why I added that in there too, because my father and I were thick as thieves when I was younger. So that, while writing the book, it brought back memories when I created the character with her father. And I'm like, you know what? Let me add that, even though she's this way, but let me also make her a daddy's girl, because it's important to see as us as women. It's very important for us to have that relationship with our fathers.
Right.
And I cherish, and I'm very proud that I am one of those who do have a relationship with my father. Fathers and daughters go through their stuff, but it's nothing like being a daddy's girl.
Right.
It's just, every time I speak about it, and even just being around my father, they say we look alike. So yeah, but as I've gotten older, they say now I'm starting to look like my mom.
Right.
And as sitting here writing, it's like, I want to add that, because being a daddy's girl opened my eyes to a lot of things growing up, as I approached my adolescence, and even in college, like, dang, like, thank God I was a daddy's girl, and I know what it's like to have a father's love. So I just felt like to put that in the book, to have the readers, because you have readers who too are daddy girls, and I wanted them to identify with that as well.
Right. And I thought you did a good job because there's a twist, y'all. There's a twist with all of this because there's a stereotypical, behaviors
Yeah.
that we think just because of that close relationship that, hey, that person's not seeking something.
Right.
And
right.
I loved how you did it because I'm telling you, initially describing her and then you added in how close they was. I'm like, she done messed me up. I can't even say this is why that person's acting the way they did.
And
So
that was my point. And because a lot of people have that stigma as, oh yeah, she's that way because, she's looking for this. And it's like, no, I'm not looking for that. Can it just be self-pleasure? Because what do you think I'm looking for? I have it. But why can't I just be this way and not have to have a background of negativity as to why I'm this way? It's like, I have that. It's just that this is just what I like to do. So that's why I threw in that twist in that character.
Well, I will say this because, and that's why I thought you did, for your first book, you did very well at that twist.
Mm-hmm.
And you left it for the end when I said, no, she didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, she didn't do that, y'all. Yes, she did. Okay?
Yes, I did.
This is what I'm talking about. This is like, because I know two of your mentors in writing, you like Terry McMillian,
yes,
and Sister Souljah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, of course.
So this reminds me, like, I'm telling you, that's some layered. That is some serious writing because you didn't just give it in the beginning. And it wasn't something that could be easily detected. When it happened, I said, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It made complete sense, but I was not expecting it either. Like, I was just like, no, you serious? Is that where we're going? This is what we're going to do with her. This is what we're going to do with Kitty. Y'all heard what I said. This is what we doing with Kitty. Okay?
Yeah. This is what we doing with Kitty. This is what we doing. This is Kitty. This is Kitty, man. Kitty is. Again, everyone that sees it is not about y'all. This is just things I see.
Right. And I think a lot of times we are getting so wrapped up with everything that's going on. Yeah. And I already had it in, like I said, when I saw the cover, I thought one thing. Wasn't until I did this.
Yeah.
Like this back. I was like, okay, now, and then I had to look at the cover again. And I was like, okay, all right, we got 4 women here doing different things. But there was something I missed, and at the end of the book,
yes,
I went back to the cover.
Yeah. Yeah, to throw you off.
Because my girlfriend did it.
Because when you compare the cover and you think you have, like, if you look at, like you said, you look at the cover, then you read the back, and when you see what's on the cover, you're like, okay, this got to be that person. And then when you read the book, and then it's like, wait a minute, they ain't looking at the cover, they ain't looking at the chapter, and you're like, when they go back, what? That's how I want the reader to get, like, wow, she threw in that monkey wrench. She threw in that.
You did, and you did good with that one, because I'm gonna tell you right now, at the cover, I thought I had him. I thought Zaria was who we both know is not the one of what we're talking about, y'all. See, we gotta be vague. We cannot, we have to be completely vague by this, but we have to make sure that with all of this, that when you pick up a book, y'all, don't assume anything.
Don't assume. You can't assume, because if you assume, they'll totally throw you off, and then you'll end up going back like, wait a minute now, what is this? Yeah.
Right. And it just, and I loved how you intertwined. What made you make, I don't want to give it away, but what made you make Thomas so close to Ellis where all that was like, I was just like, oh my goodness.
Just to be fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to be fresh. I'm like,
Got
okay,
you.
out of all of these women, and especially for the character,
Yes.
like how to make her, even though like she's like as in the perfect eye, she's like
Yes.
set, she has
Yes.
everything that all or most women, I can't say all, that most women want, she has it, but it's like you have it and still not satisfied. So I was like, well, let me just throw this in there just let me just be fresh. Let it be a little fresh. And that's why
Girl, that's why I say you did for your first one, you did good.
That's what this mind does. I'm telling you, this mind does it all the time.
When you wrote in the back that you inspired author with a wild imagination, I was just like, yeah, she right. Because you put those two, like, I was just like, because even when I was talking to my husband about it, but it was so funny how because he ran up, Officer Washington, he ran up. He was just like, no, she didn't. Why she, why? And I said, babe, I don't know.
Because, I mean, I started writing this book in 2017.
Okay.
No, 2016. I started it in the summer of 2016. And like I said, I started it because I just didn't think it would go as far as me publishing it. I knew that would be the end result, but I thought it would take forever because I'm sitting here, I'm old fashioned. I just started writing it and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm trying to put everything in. Like the first year into writing it, I'm not gonna lie, I slacked off a bit because I wasn't sure, because I had writer's block. I wasn't sure how to put everything into play. I'm like, wow, this is really challenging to write a book.
Right.
Then in 2017, I had went to New Orleans for my birthday, and my friends and I, we rented out an Airbnb, and it was just, I love New Orleans. Like I promise, I tell people like when I die, like I want to be buried in New Orleans. Like I want to live there. I just want to live there.
Y'all, she want a party.
Yes. I'm like, y'all have the full, what's it, the line? I want everything. I just love New Orleans.
Ballah-Moni she gonna be out there partying. She supposed to be in the casket, y'all.
Y'all be in the casket rocking with them in the back. Like, yes, like my best friend knows. She knows. Rafina knows. But anyway. So when I was in New Orleans, all my lyrical flows, everything, my writing, it was just coming. And then that's what inspired me to finish it and be okay, I'm publishing this book. Like I would literally wake up every morning and just sit outside and just write. And the chapter that gave me the inspiration, I was in New Orleans, was Tanya. The chapter when they all went out. Oh, I don't want to spoil it, but that chapter when with Thomas and Ellis, that's the one that had it flowing. And it just, as soon as I started writing, I just kept going and going and going and going.
And she was always fixing her shoe. Why is she always fixing her shoe?
See, if I say why she's always fixing her shoe, I'm gonna spoil it.
Okay, we not gonna tell. But I did pick that up.
I can't say why she's always fixing her shoe, but she's always fixing her shoe.
I did. I made the stink face too. But why is she always fixing her shoe?
You'll see. You see why she always fixing her shoe? Just okay. All right. Okay. Steph.
Ballah-Moni, I'm telling you, I really did. I mean, this right here, and I loved how you the son, Tariq.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Even his situation when he was liberated. And it was so funny because when I told my husband about it, I was downstairs talking about the book and I was just like, he was liberated, babe. But I loved which I'm not giving anything away when I say this, y'all, but I loved how the co-parenting occurred. That right there, and it wasn't a perfect co-parenting, but it still was
Co-parenting.
co-parenting the
Yes.
best that Ronnie and Zaria could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
With their circumstance, because the way you laid that thing out,
yeah.
And then, because at first I was like, oh, I already know how this goes. Then you go and mess that one up too.
I'm sorry. Again, with Ronnie, I wanted to have that positive image of Black men in my book. So, nowadays, you have couples who aren't together who have to co-parent. And I didn't want it to be where it's toxic with the child and the parent.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's like two people can still co-parent, with their child or children.
Right.
And that relationship will still be, there. It's like they never skipped a beat. Even though he's not physically in the house, his presence is still known. So, when that stuff happened in it, I'm not going to spoil it, but him coming, it's
Y'all gotta read it.
Yeah, it's nothing new. It's something that I'm used to from my father. So that I just really wanted to paint that image, positive Black men in my book. And then on top of that, with everything going on with teenage boys, it's just oh my God, our men deal with so much. And I just wanted to throw Tariq in there. So it's like, okay, let him represent the Black boy.
Okay.
In all. Like he's, he has the luxury of having two successful parents, but he's an only child.
Yep.
To them. And he's, experiencing positive. See, I don't want to spoil it because I did start book 2.
But the interactions were very it was positive. Even in the midst of the situation. They handled things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And and then at the end, once he was liberated.
Yeah.
Once he was liberated, and I call it that, y'all.
With the simple thing and how he was liberated, it's funny because people will be like, wait a minute. That's what y'all mean by liberated? It's like, yes.
Right. And I have to use the word because that's what he used. And I thought it was so cute. But I loved it because even for me, when my daughter was, my daughter's father and we co-parented very well we did. Not that it was perfect.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. That's why I was just like, oh my gracious, I saw a little bit of me.
Yeah.
I saw a little bit of each of my girlfriends in the, like, it was reality. Like, I did not feel like it was, that would not happen, right?
Yeah.
That would not happen. Yes, it could. And that's the thing, when you read it, that's the part that I love. But you did give us some points, some parts of, excitement, adventure with some of the situations.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, 90% of this can happen.
And that's what I think with being a writer, you want your audience to feel like they can connect with the characters. And that was my number one goal. Like, us as women, we go through a lot with dating, marriages, having children. You sit down, you're reading, whatever your stress is for that day. Once you open, whether it's my book, any other book, you want to feel that connection with the characters. So it's like, you feel like, yes, like I went through that. Yes, I dealt with that. Yes, this happened to me. And it's almost like a breath of fresh air because you can identify solely with a character. And that's with me as a writer, that was my number one goal, to have my audience identify with each character.
Yeah.
Either way, us as women, we can identify with not one or two or all four. All four. I know season you're identify with all four.
Right, exactly. Depending on what season you're in.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I was telling my husband. I said, if I wrote, books like this, my girlfriends and we got stories. But I told him, I said, but the thing about it is, a good writer
Mhm.
will allow you will see yourself in someone
Yes.
or a little bit of yourself in each,
Each character.
on in each character in some
Mhm.
form of fashion. And
Yeah.
I can say that depending on which year of my life, was it after my divorce from my daughter's father,
Right.
was it during the time when I was traveling constantly for work, I was one way, like
Mhm.
Alenia evolved.
Yeah.
And that's what I saw, like
Mhm.
all the friends were at a different place. So
Yes.
their evolution was
Mhm.
occurring at different times for
Yes.
different reasons,
Mhm.
different seasons.
Yeah.
But I love, I did. I just enjoy it, made it easier to read. So you're not sitting up there going, I don't know about nothing like that. But oh,
Yeah.
do I remember going up in the club? Oh yes,
Mhm.
putting it on. Oh
That's
yes.
every
Who
girlfriend's thing.
Yes, yeah. Whose night
Pre-COVID.
is it?
Pre-COVID.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I remember those things. I
Mhm.
remember us, one of us being, hey, whose night is it? That means that's
Yeah.
the night who can get us in the club for free, who
Yes.
can get us some free drinks because they the one on, they hot, they ready, and
Yeah.
you so
Yes.
I understood. Like I was just like, oh my goodness, I understood all of that.
And
And
having like a bunch when you have girlfriends,
mm-hmm,
you girlfriends, all girlfriends go through that.
mm-hmm.
Brunch, well, me, I don't do clubs. I do day parties because my narcolepsy kicks in at about 9 o'clock. But but you hang out if you have a bunch of girlfriends, it's
Mm-hmm.
okay, yeah. We're going out, yeah, we're gonna get in there, bring her because she do anything to get us in and she knows that person. And
Mm-hmm.
then that's why I say you want to identify with your audience so they know, yes, I did that.
Right.
Yes, I know that. Yes, oh, I
Mm-hmm.
did that too. That's all the connection with being a writer, your audience. Once you
Right.
have that, you're fine. You're
Right.
fine.
So was there any character that was a little tougher to write for you that you found to be a little bit more challenging?
I would say, truthfully, Zaria,
Mm. Why is
because
that?
Zaria is more so, she's not as, I would say she's the least adventurous out of the
Mm-hmm.
four.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
Zaria was my hardest character to write because it's like you have this, you're a successful woman,
Mm-hmm.
as you have a child, and then you have all these other things, but you're not as, some people would say, not as fun as the other three
Right.
because it's like you're subtle, you're set in your ways,
Mm-hmm.
you have it all, quote
Right.
unquote. You don't really, because your life, not saying that to women it's something that's born, but like your life revolves around your child,
Child. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and which is, it's a good thing,
Mm-hmm.
but when you compare it to the other three, it's like, dang, how can I at least add a little spice or a little sprinkle to the single mother who's
Mm-hmm.
successful, who main focus is her child? How can I do that? So Zaria was the toughest. I can say Zaria was the toughest.
Okay.
She was.
Okay. I
She
can
was.
understand it, but I thought you did a good job of what occurred,
Mm-hmm.
because that's a reality that could occur.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really could. And I thought you did good with that. You
I
did.
tried with Zaria was many times. I'm like, Dad. Right now, I'm like, Dad, I go back to Zaria. But how can I do?
You kept putting her
It's
to the
like, come
top.
on, like let the creative juices flow, like you did with
Right.
Tanya. Let it flow for Zaria. But
Right.
I'm glad I was able to add a little spruce, little spice, little ta 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 to her,
Right.
to make her the character where most women would be like, oh, okay, well, she's not the dull one
Right.
of the crew. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
really excited about
and
that.
you started off with her. That's
Yeah,
the part. And I was just like trying to figure out, I'm like, I wonder which one was the hardest for her to write. But you
yeah,
put her right up in the front. So you wasn't afraid to
hmm,
do that, which I thought was it was, because
yeah,
it that you kept, I liked how you went soft,
hmm,
someone that was a little bit more spicier,
Yeah.
soft, to someone spicy. And I liked how you you balanced.
Yes.
You balanced well. You balanced very well. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed that. All right, I got some more questions. I do.
Okay. Please go on.
So, all right. So at the end, what made you decide to end things the way you did with Tanya?
Because Tanya's a mess.
She a hot flaming mess.
A hot mess, and she put herself in a hot mess.
Yes.
So considering that I felt I don't know, I had a good feeling about being that this is my first baby. So I wanted to end Tanya in that way to keep the reader guessing.
Okay.
So that's why I ended Tanya the way I did, because it's like you'll be like, wait a minute, now the book. It's like, wait, did I miss something when I was reading? Is this? That's how I want the reader to do. So that's why I ended her the way I did, to keep them wondering. And even some of the readers who have read my book, and they keep asking me like, but wait a minute, but how was so-and-so? But how come, but Tanya was with, yeah, so that's why I ended Tanya, to keep the readers guessing for the sequel. So that's why I ended her the way I did.
That was gonna be my next question. That was gonna be, because I'm like, because my husband, when I kind of read that, went through the end with him, he said, I think she's gonna write another book.
Yeah, because I had so much fun writing them, especially with the stories, and I just didn't want to leave the readers like, dang, we really want to know what happened. Like, you have to tell us what happened. So I ended that, and I started the sequel. I'm not finished, but I did start it. And you think the first one was something. The second one, I have a lot of It'll be fast forwarding to years, and you'll be like,
Ballah-Moni has some scenes in here, and like I said, I was like, did she just put it like that?
Yeah.
But why? You did very well. I will say this. You did very well with each sex scene. Very well. Very well. Because it didn't seem gaudy. It didn't seem unreal. Like it made, like it was real.
Yeah.
And we all grown.
Yeah.
Like, we're all grown. I said in the beginning. Did I not?
Yes, you did.
But I loved how it wasn't the focus.
Yes. You have to add sex. Like, when you're dealing with 4 characters and going through it, you have to, I see it as you have to add sex. You have to add something to get the readers excited. So that's how I was like, wait a minute, they just add on the sex,
Yep. No, I thought you did. I thought you did it with class.
Yeah.
You did it, and we're grown women that like some smut. Yes, we love the Lord.
Yes, but then again,
we want
Jimmy off to the side, we like raunchy, and
yes, we want some smut.
The
but we don't want it so vulgar that when we read it, we feel dirty.
Yeah.
And that's what I really enjoyed, because it wasn't like I was like clutching my fake pearls. Not at all. I was like, hey, you better get yours.
Yes, that's
and I mean, I don't know if that's the reaction you wanted, but I ain't gonna.
That's the reaction I wanted. I really, really wanted that. Like, that's why I said I felt like let me just add sex in there just cause. Yes, and then I wanted the reader to feel a little hot and feel, like, ooh, okay. Yep. Oh, and that's I hope I accomplished it with you, thank goodness. But I hope with the other readers, I accomplished that, where it's something that they can read and be like, oh my God.
Okay. Yeah. Be like, Did I
Yeah,
just
that's when you
read?
start fanning yourself like, oh,
Yeah, and
I
that's
feel
exactly. I
like,
was just like, did I
let me
just
reread
read
this
that?
chapter again. Oh,
I
okay.
said she
Yes.
done sat up here and wrote that thing because Alla, yo, Alla went to she went to New York. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay.
Yes. And New York showed her a good time. Showed her a
Yes.
great time. A great time.
Ooh, let me tell you something. It was y'all get the book. Get the book. I'm telling you, get the book. It is so good. It is so good. One of the questions I do like to ask is when with this book,
Mhm.
who is an ideal reader for this book? Look, I'm 50 years old and I enjoyed it, so I'm gonna just let you know that.
Okay. The ideal reader for this book is young and old,
Mm-hmm.
not mature. I want a mature audience to
Mm-hmm.
read it, but I would like to reach all audience as
Okay.
far as you got the ratchets and you got the classy.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
want to not bridge the gap, but just have those two meet,
Yeah.
like classy women and women that's not afraid to let it all out. That's the
Right.
audience I like to reach. Women who are not afraid to explore their sexuality. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Women who enjoy having fun. Women who have girlfriends. Though you
Yeah.
have the girlfriends, the wing women. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you
Oh yeah.
have yeah, like girlfriends. The audience I'm solely focusing on are women with adventure.
Yeah. Okay.
Women who doesn't really care about what the next person has to say about who they are or how they live. Just
Mm-hmm.
women who accept themselves for who they are.
Right.
Whether
Right.
you're classy, it doesn't matter. That's the
Mm-hmm.
audience. As long if I can touch every woman from different caliber, from different backgrounds, from different walks of life, that's my main focus is
Right.
focus. That's my main focus on my audience, on who I want, who like my main goal is in
Right.
writing this book.
Well, this 50-year-old enjoyed it.
Yay.
I did.
And you know
I
what's funny? I actually have a reader who read the book and she's like 65 and
Mhm.
she loves it. She's
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness, I love your book. And when she told me that, I'm like, at first, because she's around my mother's age. So I'm like, come on, my mother's 65. My
Right.
mother, I'm the baby of five. So
Oh wow. So
yes,
you were just
yes.
like, should I give this to her?
My mother actually started reading it. And it's at the point where I'm like, Mom, if you read it, you read it. Because I know she's going to call me and be like, Ballah-Moni. So what made you think that? Because one of my aunts actually read the book and she asked me, and I was like, I can't tell you all about that. That's not
Right.
about me. We can't have that conversation.
Yeah, because I was gonna ask you that. Like, how did any one of your friends come to you and say, were you talking about me? Did anyone think it was them? Because like I said, if I was able to say, oh yeah, I'm sure others.
Yes, I have. A
Did
friend
you?
of mine actually called me and she said, while reading it, she said, that took me back to when we were in college. And I was talking to that basketball player. She said, that's where it took me to. I said, well, real truthfully, if when she sees this interview, I was not talking about you and him.
She was not.
I was not talking about you, but it's funny because when she asked me that, I'm like, but that wasn't the goal. I wasn't
Right.
It
Right.
wasn't for you. but if you feel that it was, that means that I've accomplished my
There you
goal of
go.
you identifying with the
Mm-hmm.
character in the book.
Right.
So yeah, I had to call my god sister. She said she was gonna ask me about something, but she ain't asked me yet. So I'm waiting.
And that's the thing. I think a lot of people don't realize that we all have very similar, even though
Yeah.
we might not even know each other,
Hmm.
but we can think of a time where we may have done a Zarya thing when they was putting up the door.
Yeah.
We may have done a kitty thing.
Yes.
We may have done, done with Tanya. I'm gonna tell you right now.
There's women like Tanya. Yes.
I was so mad at her. I'm just telling you, you did a good job making me mad.
But you see, Tanya's kind of like,
made me mad.
Out of all, she's like the villain in a way. Like I want people to get upset at Tanya. Because again, like I said previously, she has what everyone wants.
Yeah.
And you're willing to mess it, you know what?
Oh, y'all. And then when you find, now, I'm not going to tell y'all, but when y'all find out the whole of it and the who of it, y'all gonna do exactly what I did. Y'all gonna throw that book and then run over there and pick it back up.
You gotta make sure you finish it when you throw it. Don't leave it there too long.
I was sitting on the love seat, Ballah-Moni, and I threw it over to the sofa. Yeah. And then I got up and got the book, and I'm like, okay, let me go back.
Let me go back and let me finish so I can hate on her some more.
Oh, I was
because she is, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. So, but I'm not gonna tell anything. Ballah-Moni, you have done an excellent job on your first book. I want to go ahead and put it out there. The next one, we want the interview.
I am set. The first interview. In fact, when I publish the second one, you will receive the first 2 copies. So we can get this interview started, because after people read this book, they're like, okay, we got to know what is going on with these women. Like, what is it? Like, we need to know what's going on with them. Like, we need to know what was the outcome. Like, when they finish the first book, it'll be like, okay, now when they see the second book, it's like, okay, now we got to see what's going on, because you can't just leave us hanging like this.
Y'all, she just got her feet wet right now. I'm going to just tell y'all, she got her feet wet and she is ready. You need to, I'm telling you, book tour. I want to be on your book tour to interview you.
Yes.
Because I know that second one will be right. Yes. I know it is, because you got such a good start. So I commend you. I do. I commend you. I know y'all know that I could talk all day long to my authors, but that lets you know that what they have put their talent into.
Yeah.
And understand that it's good work. It's really good work.
Yeah.
This, and like I said, if you're not looking for something a little spicy, okay? Spicy, juicy, all of the above.
All of the above.
This is not the book for you this time. But let me tell you something. Anybody that's going to the beach.
Yes.
And you have a week's vacation, put it on your summer reading list. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. This one, put it on your summer reading list, because you done went through 2020. And now we in 2021, we able to get out a little bit more. So put it on. I know y'all probably said, Alina, I'm going to have a full library. That's what we're all about. Yes. So I want you to tell my audience, Ballah-Moni, where can they find your book?
Okay, so currently, you can order my book on Amazon.com. Oh, yeah, go to your Amazon app. The Journey in Finding is there. You can order it there. I'm currently working on my website. I'm getting that situated where you'll see it. So I'm working on my website.
That's okay. She's going to let us know, y'all. She's going to let us know. She's going to send it to us when she has it.
When I have it ready.
Make sure we post it.
Yes.
For her.
I just published this in October. I'm working. But Amazon.com, most definitely, The Journey in Finding. It's there. I please, everyone that buys it, leave your comment.
Yes.
Please leave
Yes.
your, how many stars you feel that the book. I just Amazon.com.
Yes.
I
Support.
do it. Writing is my passion, even though I, did it, trying to get myself up there as a New York Times bestseller. But at the same time, I'm also writing because it's what I love to do. I love to bring joy and pleasure to my readers. So writing, yeah, it's a little bit bank, but it's also a pleasure for me.
Right.
So Amazon.com, please, 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 that's where you can purchase it. I'm actually thinking of doing a giveaway for my books because I have a few of them
Ooh.
here. So I'm working on that. But if you have any questions, you can also find me at my Instagram. My handle, my name is Got a Dream 87.
Yeah.
That's GOTTADREAM 87. And also my book has its own Instagram page, underscore the oh my god, it's like so much for the book. But the journey in finding, you can
Mhm.
underscore the underscore journey underscore in underscore finding. It's not my fault. I tried to have it all in one, but someone else took it.
I took it right.
Yeah, so it's you can find me in both of those places on Instagram and also Facebook. My
Right.
name, Ballah-Moni Kollie, you can find me on there as well.
All right, Joy Nook Club. I'm telling you, we want to thank our author, Ballah-Moni Kollie. Look at that, y'all. Y'all saw I got it right.
You got
Okay.
it. You got it.
I got it. And we want to also thank our sponsor for today, our podcast sponsor, who is Events and Creations by Nikki, and that's Creations with a K. Call Events and Creations by Nikki for all your creative needs. They host, plan, design any event or celebration you desire. They also create custom made designs for apparel, cups, floral arrangements, decorum, jewelry, and waist beads. You can reach a member of the Creations with a K team at 443-876-1548 or send an email to events and creations with a K by Nikki at gmail.com. Their motto is if you have a vision, let's create it. Joy Nook Club, I want you to have yourself a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
And
And oh, go ahead.
I would also like to thank you, Join the Club, for having me.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. I'd have to say thank you.
You're welcome. You are most welcome. Because y'all, let me tell y'all already know I done thanked her like 11 times for saying yes. When people say yes to you, you want to respect what they have and what they have done. And you want to make sure that the work that they put into it is definitely shown. I'm telling you, y'all, you will enjoy it. If you enjoy books like this, I'm telling you, you're going to enjoy it. Pick it up, put it on the list, put it in your bag, read it at lunchtime, y'all. That'll get you out of a bad attitude.
Mhm.
But join the club. I want y'all to have yourself a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And self care is the best care. And remember,
Yeah.
sustainable habits inspire mindful transformation to help you get your shift right. All right. Peace and blessings, ladies.